Hello and welcome to Edvora, where we explore science, history, and the deeper stories behind global events. Today, we're discussing a complex and deeply emotional topic, the Israel-Palestine conflict. It's a subject that has captured headlines and hearts worldwide for decades. Our goal in this video is to offer a balanced, historical overview, not to advocate for any particular political stance, but to shed light on major events and milestones that shaped this ongoing struggle. If you find this content informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's begin by looking at the earliest chapters in this region's long history. Long before modern states, the land between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River featured a mosaic of peoples: Canaanites, Israelites, Philistines, and others. Over centuries, this area became sacred to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all of which have deep historical ties to places like Jerusalem. From roughly the 16th century until World War I, this region was part of the Ottoman Empire, housing Arab communities, local Jewish populations, and diverse religious minorities living under imperial rule. Key point: by the late 1800s, notions of modern nationalism began taking shape among both Jews and Arabs. The seeds for a future conflict started to form during the final decades of Ottoman control, but it wasn't until the empire's collapse that these tensions crystallized. Late 19th century Europe saw the birth of Zionism, a political movement seeking to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Figures like Theodor Herzl believed this was the solution to widespread anti-Semitism in Europe. Meanwhile, Arab nationalism also gained momentum, with leaders envisioning sovereign Arab states following the empire's weakening. Why it matters. The Zionist movement encouraged Jewish immigration to Ottoman Palestine territory. At the same time, many Arabs in the region began asserting cultural and political rights. This set the stage for future clashes once the Ottoman Empire dissolved after World War I. When the Ottoman Empire collapsed, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, 1916, secretly carved up former Ottoman lands among the Allied powers. Palestine came under British mandate via the League of Nations. In 1917, Britain issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while also noting that the rights of non-Jewish communities should remain intact. Jewish immigration under British Mandate Rule, 1920 to 1948. Jewish immigration increased significantly, fueled by European anti-Semitism and later the Holocaust. Arab resistance. Local Arabs felt marginalized and threatened by the demographic changes, leading to protests and revolts, e.g., the Arab Revolt of 1936 to 1939. Tensions and violence. Communal violence flared between Arab and Jewish communities alongside friction against British colonial policies. After World War II, the global community witnessed the Holocaust's horrors, further galvanizing support for a Jewish state. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan that would divide the British Mandate into two states, one Jewish, one Arab, with Jerusalem under international administration. Jewish response: Zionist leaders accepted the partition, seeing it as a stepping stone towards sovereignty. Arab response: Arab leadership rejected the plan, viewing it as unjust given the existing Arab majority in the region. State of Israel and War, 1948. In May 1948, Israel declared independence. Neighboring Arab states invaded, sparking the First Arab-Israeli War. The conflict ended with armistice lines that gave Israel more territory than the original UN plan. Many Palestinians fled or were expelled, becoming refugees, an event they call the Nakba catastrophe. 1956, Suez Crisis. Israel, Britain, and France attacked Egypt after it nationalized the Suez Canal. The conflict ended under international pressure, foreshadowing the region's global strategic importance. 1967, Six-Day War. Israel seized the West Bank, East Jerusalem, Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights in a lightning campaign. This event created the modern occupied territories central to today's disputes. 1973. Yom Kippur War. Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israeli forces. The war ended with ceasefire agreements, but no lasting peace. Over time, Egypt signed a peace treaty with Israel, 1979, while the Palestinian track remained unresolved. In 1964, the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, formed, aiming to represent the Palestinian people and establish a Palestinian state. Over the decades, First Intifada, 1987 to 1993, a grassroots uprising in the West Bank and Gaza protesting Israeli occupation and policies. Second Intifada, 2000 to 2005. More violent clashes erupted, further entrenching mistrust. Political divisions. The 2006 Palestinian legislative elections brought Hamas to power in Gaza, while Fatah, dominant in the PLO, held sway in the West Bank. This internal rift also complicates the peace process. Oslo Accords, 90s. In a surprising turn, Israel and the PLO signed initial agreements granting partial self-rule to Palestinians in certain areas. It was hoped that final status issues, borders, Jerusalem, refugees, would be settled later. However, subsequent efforts like the Camp David Summit, 2000, Taba talks, and the Roadmap for Peace, 2003, collapsed over core disagreements, settlements, the status of Jerusalem, and the right of return for Palestinian refugees. West Bank. Divided into areas of partial Palestinian control under the Palestinian Authority and ongoing Israeli military presence. Settlement expansion and barrier construction remain hot-button issues. Gaza Strip, governed by Hamas under blockade by Israel and Egypt, leading to periodic conflicts and severe humanitarian challenges. Jerusalem, claimed as a capital by both sides, East Jerusalem was annexed by Israel, not internationally recognized, fueling tension over holy sites. Cycle of violence. Sporadic rocket attacks from Gaza, Israeli airstrikes and raids create acute flare-ups. Civilians on both sides bear heavy consequences. The conflict draws intense global attention. Different states support different sides diplomatically or economically. Humanitarian and rights organizations often highlight civilians' plight, underscoring the urgent need for a sustainable solution. Yet repeated peace attempts stall over unresolved final status issues. Two-state versus one-state. Officially, much of the international community and major parties still reference a two-state solution. Others suggest a single, binational state. Neither path is straightforward. Ongoing settlement growth, leadership divides, and security issues complicate a lasting agreement. Grassroots efforts. Despite the stalemate, some joint Israeli-Palestinian groups, youth dialogues, and NGOs persist in promoting coexistence. While limited, they keep the hope for people-to-people contact alive. The Israel-Palestine conflict remains among the most enduring and complex global disputes. Its roots trace back centuries, but today's flashpoints formed primarily in the 20th century, shaped by nationalisms, wars, and shifting borders. Navigating religion, identity, and historical trauma, both sides find themselves locked in a cycle that has defied numerous peace initiatives. At Edvora, we encourage seeking diverse sources and perspectives to truly grasp the depth of this conflict. No single video can capture all nuances, but understanding historical milestones is a starting point. Question for viewers: what do you think is the biggest challenge to a lasting peace? Let us know in the comments, respectfully. And if you appreciated this breakdown, please like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss future explorations of major world events. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.